So when a private company files to go public or in the process of going public, they need to file what's called an S-1 with the SEC. This basically tells the story of kind of the risks and the opportunities that exist within the business that they then share with investors. And so within that S-1, we get a lot of information for the first time, publicly available information around the track record of the business, their financial performance, and the underlying kind of metrics of the business. And so as a part of that, what we've got is 9 quarters worth of income statement from Figma, which allows us to calculate kind of a lot of the core metrics that we care about. And so the first one that we can take a look at is ARR, right? And the trend of ARR growth over the last 9 quarters. And if we look at this, we can see in Q1 of 23 that ARR was at just under $440 million. And over the last 9 quarters, they've got that up to about $912 million in annual recurring revenue. So more than doubled the business over the last couple of years. And if we look at net new ARR added quarter over quarter, we've got this interesting chart here where we see this real big pop in Q2 of 24 and Q3 of 24 as well. Now, there's a little blip here that shows up on most of these numbers for Figma in those 2 quarters. And the reason for that is that they got awarded that $1 billion by Adobe in the beginning of 2024. So that money was deployed pretty aggressively over the first half of 2024. And so we see some inflation here just in terms of sales and marketing spend, in terms of reduction of operating margins, and some accelerated growth off the back of that. Because they really took this pile of money and just threw it out into the market. They spent pretty aggressively for a couple of quarters there. Right, so if we take those 2 outliers out, we can see that they're pretty consistently adding somewhere between kind of 35 and 50 million in net new ARR per quarter. Right, so really solid growth. Right, we can also see this when we look at year over year ARR growth rates. And so we've got enough data here to look at this over the last 5 quarters. We can see that the lowest growth rate that they generated during that time was 43%. It got as high as 50% in Q3 and Q4 of 2024, right? And came in at 46% for Q1 of this year, right? So that most recent data that we've got shows them growing ARR up 46% year over year, which aligns to kind of the end of March 2025. Now, to put that in perspective, right, the median growth rate for the companies that we track, the 35 odd companies that we track in Q1 was 18%. So growing well north of that, right? They're growing faster than Palantir, growing faster than Klaviyo, growing faster than Monday, right? So really exceptional performance in this operating environment to be growing at 46%.